All all right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cassandra Taylor, and I'm the founder and CEO of Top Flight Defense Incorporated. And this afternoon, we are live with, at the moment, two breast cancer survivors. We have more coming on later within the broadcast, but we want to talk to them. We want to talk to them about their survival and how it all started and the age in which they were when they were diagnosed with breast cancer. So before I even go on and on all day long, I would like to introduce um, a good friend who I just met and found out that her and I have her auntie is one of the ladies that I am in the organization of the National Association of Black Military Women. And so,
Okay.
without further ado, I would like to introduce Deanna Harris McCoy. And if everyone else, if you can put your phone or your device on mute. And hello, Deanna.
Hello, hello, and good afternoon, all.
How are you feeling today?
Doing all right. I've gotten a lot of rest yesterday, so I am doing well today.
All right, all right. Well, so come on, talk to us. How old were you when you were diagnosed with breast cancer?
I was 35 when I was officially diagnosed. So I'll tell you a little bit about the story about getting to the diagnosis. So I was still living in Texas at the time, and I remember around like April, I was feeling my boobs because I do that often, and then I felt like it was like a little lump somewhere, and I was telling my one of my really good friends about it. And then it was either like June or July, and I was like, "Oh, it's still there." And I feel like, and my friend was like, "You need to go to your doctor," because she had a friend who was in her 30s who recently had breast cancer. So she was like, "You really need to go and get that looked out." So I went to my primary care physician. Then I went, she then referred me to go get the mammogram. They had a biopsy and everything. And it was, I remember the date, it was August the 1st, 2020, where I got the call from my primary care physician that I had breast cancer because I was actually out doing community service when I got the call. And so it was right in the midst of the pandemic that I got the diagnosis.
Oh wow. What type of cancer, breast cancer did they call it? What was the name?
So it was a ductal carcinoma, and it was stage 2, and I was HER2 positive as well.
And it was what?
I was HER2 positive.
Okay. So I don't know if you were on the line last week when we had a provider from the VA on talking about the different types of breast cancer. And that was one of the ones that she talked about. So tell us more. What was your treatment? What was their treatment plan for you? And um how was your response? What did it, I don't know, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but
No, that's fine.
um
Just ask the questions as they come in, and so I was living in Texas when I got the diagnosis. Then like a month later, I moved to Illinois. So then I had to find a new primary care physician who was amazing, who made the referrals to oncology and everything. And so um, I went to go see the oncologist and the breast surgeon. And the breast surgeon was telling me that because it was HER2 positive, that I would have to do chemotherapy. And I did not want to do chemotherapy like at all, because one of the side effects or potential side effects is infertility. And my husband and I do not have children yet. So I was telling her that I was not going to do it at all. And she said, "You have to do it because of the type of cancer that you have to have chemotherapy." I'm like, "I don't want to do it." So she, she was crying, I was crying. Then she was like, "Fine, we'll make you a referral to the fertility specialist." And so we did that before I even started treatment. And we have some embryos frozen now, just in case we need them. So I started chemotherapy in November. Then I finished around March. And then I had surgery. And so there was still some of the cancer left after surgery. So then I had to do chemo again, but I did the chemo after I did like a month of radiation. So all in all, I was in treatment for probably about like 15 months.
So you went through treatment for 15 months?
Mm-hmm. It was chemo, it was surgery, then it was radiation, then it was chemo again. And then I finished everything February 22nd, 2022. So just last year,
So
I finished up everything.
did you wind up having a mastectomy? Was it to that point, or were they able to just target the cells and kill them
Hmm.
off that way?
They were able to. So I had a lumpectomy after the chemotherapy.
And
So
what is a lumpectomy?
so they just took the cancerous cells out and some of the tissue around it instead of taking like my whole breast tissue. So I just got some of it taken out. And then I
Okay.
also had to get so when I had the surgery, they also took out six of my lymph nodes just to see if they were cancerous, and they were not.
Praise God. Praise God.
Hmm.
Okay. So were you married? So you were married at the time when you went
Yes,
through it.
yes.
Um, so did you during chemotherapy, did you lose hair? Did you lose weight? What what
So
did you go through?
I gained weight, but I lost all of my hair, which wasn't a problem because I am good for cutting all of my hair off. It's probably so this is probably like the third time that I've just like had no hair. In the first two times it was on purpose, but I was not worried about the losing the hair part. It is when I started losing my eyebrows that I was like, oh, now this is very different. Like that's the one that bothered me. The hair part, I was like, I'm used to. And I have a face where I can pull it off. That's fine. But it was the eyebrows that really like got me. And then my face was breaking out too. So it was a lot.
Okay.
And then
So
the fatigue got me too. Like the nausea and the fatigue, I'm just like, I just remember saying like I'm just so tired. Like I'm just so tired. And I would just spend like all day in the bed.
so for 18 months, 15
But
months.
so for maybe like 3 or 4 days so I would get the chemotherapy every 3 weeks. So for like 3 or 4 days, I would just be like exhausted. And then I would be okay for like the next 2 weeks. But then for 3 or 4 days after, I would be like extremely exhausted.
So what about your desire to eat? Because the first year we did this, my auntie was on and she said, she was nauseous, everything tasted horrible, but she knew her sisters could really cook. So even though the metal taste that you would get with the food, she kept telling herself, this is good. This is good. And that's how she was able to go through that. So you're shaking your head, yes and no. So tell me
And
about that.
so when I was nauseous, I would not eat. Like so luckily I have a very like big community. And so when I would have treatment, like somebody would fly up here for the whole week just to take care of me. And so sometimes when I didn't want to eat anything, I would like have some grapes because I couldn't eat anything else. And it was very difficult for me to drink water, even though I needed it to flush out the chemo. Like it would hurt my stomach, but if I didn't um drink the water, then my body would just like cramp up. And so like I would like have to force myself to drink water. I had like a lot of tea, a lot of tea. I really liked bitter things.
You
Um,
liked what?
bitter, anything that was bitter.
Hmm.
I liked. And then once, like the couple days after chemo, I was like really, really hungry. And so I would want anything that was savory and I would just want some meat. And so that's what I would eat. I'm like, I'm probably not supposed to be eating this, but this is what my body wants right now. And so I would just like eat all the meat. And then I remember when I was supposed to drink all this water, my husband went out and brought like all these different types of water just to see what kind I would like and actually drink.
So you'd have to, so it was okay to drink plain water,
Yes.
without anything in it, like the flavor packs that they have. You couldn't put that in your water?
Oh no, I could. I just didn't like it.
Oh,
It
okay.
didn't it didn't taste good. The only thing that did taste good is this hibiscus flower powder that I had. Because that was really bitter. So that was that was that tasted really good. But otherwise it was very difficult. And then I was um just a little angry, but not too much because I'm a coffee drinker. Like I drink coffee every single day because I love the taste of coffee. And I could not have coffee at all. So
You
that was
couldn't have coffee? Why?
because it's a diuretic, and so I need all the water that I can.
Oh my goodness. So
Mm-hmm.
what would you say contributed to your strength and you going through with the chemo? Because you said at the beginning that you didn't want to do it because of the infertility. So
Right.
what was it that drove you? What was it that made you say, okay, I'm gonna do this regardless?
Um, the primary reason is from the love from my family and my friends and my community. So many people mailed me baskets, wigs, creams. Like there were so many people that just sent me things, and I didn't ask for it. They just sent it, and they would just check on me and like, do you need this? Do you need that? But just it's the love and support that I got from my family and friends. And so I created a Facebook page just to give people updates because I did not want to send out like 50, 100 text messages. Like, so I'm like, we're just going to do it. And then one of my friends helped manage the Facebook page. So it's just, it was really the support and the love from my family and community and friends that really like got me through it. And then the second part of it was my stubbornness because I got diagnosed right around the time where I was starting a job that I really enjoyed. And I think that I was going to have the resources to do all the things that I wanted to do in my career. And then I also got this consulting job that I've wanted for a very, very long time, working with some folks that are just like extremely amazing. So both of those happened at the same exact time that I was diagnosed, and I was like, oh no, 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 no. No, 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 no. I am not gonna fail because of this. So that's one of the things that just kept me going throughout the whole all of the treatment. And I had to keep reminding my family because they knew that I was still working multiple jobs. Um, and I had to remind them that I know how to rest. Like I am still resting. There are times when I'm just laying on the couch all day like just laying and watching Netflix. So I had to constantly remind them that I am resting because they know that I will be busy if I can be busy.
Okay. So what is it that you wish your family had have known? And I see that, and it's really, really amazing, and it's good that you had so much help. The support that you receive, like you said, from people that you didn't even ask to help to send you stuff that was out there and willing to do those things for you. But is there something that you wish your family had have known during that time that you had not, that they didn't know?
I don't think there's anything that I wanted them to know that they didn't know. I think it was I had to have a lot of conversations with myself because I'm usually the giver. I'm usually the supporter. I'm usually the one that is there for other people that are sending the things. So it was hard to be on the receiving end of that without reciprocating.
Okay.
So I had to,
Okay.
so they like my family and friends were amazing. I had to have a lot of conversations with myself and say, Deanna, you don't have to like send something. You don't have to send thank you cards. Like you don't have to do all this stuff because people are doing this because you're in need. So you don't have to reciprocate their love and support right now. You could just receive it. So that was hard for me to do.
Just accept what they
Just
were giving you.
Right, without being like overly thankful or needing to give something back at the same time. So that was that was one of the life lessons that this whole cancer journey taught me. And like the other one was that I don't have control over my time because, like I said, I was still working, so I would try to schedule like meetings in between some of my doctor's appointments. But it said it'd be like 2-3 hours, and I would end up being there for like 8 hours, and I'd be like, you know what, forget it. Whatever doesn't get done just doesn't get done because I don't have control over my time now. So now I am so much better and relaxed around scheduling and time than I was prior to the whole diagnosis and treatment.
So you're how many years have you been cancer free?
It was one in February.
1 year in February. Well, praise
Hmm.
God. I am
Hmm.
so happy. Um, I'm happy that you and I met and you were able to share with me what was going on with you. And you said you was like ecstatic when I said, well, would you mind?
Of course.
And that's a good thing because the sole purpose of Top Flight doing this is to let women know that you're not alone
Right.
and to step outside of the big, you know, the big organizations that does the breast cancer awareness, because I mean, and it's a beautiful thing that they do it, but this is more intimate to me, and it has given us an opportunity to actually talk to someone, a familiar face, or someone that you see on Facebook and be like, "Yeah, girl, I love the dog. Oh, I like the cake. Oh, it makes it
Hmm.
more personable."
Yeah.
And so I was like, let's do this. Let's bring this out. Let's give the women an opportunity to share, let them know. And it may be something that you went through that somebody else didn't, or that they're going through, that they needed that push, that they needed that, oh, well, maybe I should try to, like you were saying, the hibiscus powder. I'd
Hmm.
never heard anybody talk about hibiscus powder. That, but your taste was the bitter. You needed that
Hmm.
bitter taste in order to
Hmm.
consume the amount of water that your
Hmm.
doctors have requested. So I thank you um, for that.
Of
So
course.
I'm going to open it up if anyone wants to ask you any questions. We have two Yolandas online, um, but I'm one of them is a childhood friend. I've been knowing her all of my life. I'm gonna call her up next because she's new. I don't New is not the right thing to say. She's in early stages of survival of breast cancer. And the other Yolanda, she's been a survivor for a longer time. So I will have her to come up last, if that's okay. But does anyone have any questions for Deanna at this point?
I do.
Yeah.
Being married, how with your husband, because I'm a newlywed though, but with the uh, did your was your husband just as affected as you were?
Yeah, he was. Because I think that I remember him having a conversation with me about him feeling a little helpless because it's nothing that he couldn't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very sad for him because he was like, I can't fix it. And so he then took like FMLA from work to go to some of the doctor's visit. But I think that's the wonderful thing about having community is that he didn't have to take off the work the whole 15 months because then I had other people, family and friends that would come and also help and support and provide him some respite. So it's not just all on him with the caretaking. So it was difficult, but he was really there and supportive and getting the food, getting the water, like it reminded me to do the things that I'm supposed to be doing. So
I'm talking like emotional support, like the hugs, and then when you felt anxiety, he was there for you during that time.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He is the one that I go to when I need to cry.
Okay.
Hmm.
Good. Leslie, I see your hand up.
Sorry, had to find my mute button. Hi, ladies.
No.
I may have missed this, but how much water do you have to drink? And have you noticed an improvement of anything as a result of the water? And I'm asking that because they say water does so much for our bodies, and for the rest of us, these things we kind of. So I'm just curious to hear from your side of the house. Have you noticed a difference with your new water intake, and what is your intake? Thank
Well,
you.
so when I was actively going through the chemotherapy, I think that they said that I should have like 3 liters of water a day. And I'm like, that is a whole lot of like that is a lot of water. But it was hard to do, but I managed it. Now I try to drink all the water that I need to drink. Sometimes I don't do my best, and then I know it because the same way throughout the chemo, if I didn't drink enough water, like my muscles would start cramping up. So when I don't drink enough water now, like my muscles in my back and my muscles in my abdomen will really just start like cramping, and I'm like, oh, I did not drink enough water today. Let me go get some water. So I probably should still continue that same level of drinking water. But I don't. But water is usually the only thing that I drink because I don't drink a lot of sodas or a lot of juices. So I drink water, but not enough.
Okay, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else have any questions?
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Neuropathy. I don't know. She's only a year, and I joined late, so it's only been 1 year since she's gone through chemo.
No, it's 1 year since I've finished all of my treatment.
1 year. So do you find that you have neuropathy? And what are you doing with your
I surely do. In both of my pinkies, I still have it. In my feet, I still have it even after all the treatment is done. And so sometimes I'm just like, because I can feel all the tingling is like right here.
Did they give you a solution or a remedy? You just have it, huh?
I just have it.
Yeah.
And to add on to that, so after all the treatment was done, I am currently on tamoxifen, so I had to take that for 5 years. So I think I'm in like, because I think I started it before, like right after radiation. So I might be in like year 2 of 5 for taking the tamoxifen. Is something I had to take every day.
Tamoxifen?
And that's supposed to at least prevent the cancer from coming back for like at least 10 years. So
Okay. I did hear, that was something I did hear last week, because a young lady was saying that that was one of the medications that she was taking, and that the doctor was saying that's what they give them, that's what they're giving for that purpose, to keep the cancer from coming back. So before we go on to my childhood friend Yolanda, is there any more questions for Deanna? If
No,
not,
for me.
okay, then I thank you, Deanna.
thank you.
Somebody say one of the ladies that was on that we featured last year, another Yolanda. What is it in your name? She said that yes, neuropathy is still present 2 years in for her as well, and because she's early in her survival of breast cancer. So that's another one. I hope she come on. I sent them the link, so if she want to come on and say a few words, that will be fine. But if not, Deanna, I would like to thank you, and if you could please stay on till the end of the broadcast, we will really appreciate it. Okay, Yolanda Watts, can you please sign in?
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Well, I was diagnosed just coming up on a year ago, around this time. It was
How
actually
old were you when you were diagnosed?
58, and it
Okay.
came out of nowhere. I have my mammograms every day, every year, not every day, every year. There was no sign of anything last year. I have them in October of every year. It's like right before Thanksgiving. I have a mammogram. I normally get these little cyst-like things. My mother used to get them when she was around my age, so I would get them, and They would just drain them out. They would just be little cysts with fluids in them, and they drain them, and they never bothered me. And I had one about 5 years ago that was kind of
Where was
hard.
this?
No,
Where would the cyst be that they have to
in my
drain? Under your
breast,
arm?
in my breast,
Huh?
just in my breast.
Okay. Was
Never
it a
bothered me.
visible? I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting you off, but
Go ahead.
I'm asking because you're saying it and I'm trying to visualize this. So was it a cyst that was visible, like a pimple on your breast that you noticed that
No,
they
they were
would
on the
drain?
inside. On the inside.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
And
I'm
and they
sorry.
were not visible, didn't bother me. You can't feel them under the arm or anything like that. But every now and again, I just would on my own squeeze. It actually what it would be is I breastfed my last two. And with the colostrum, sometime when I would finish breastfeeding, it was gets like the breast milk would get stuck. And it's hard to explain, but it would be some left in the milk ducts,
Okay.
and it would just stay there and wouldn't drain out. So over time and over years of not draining out, it just turns into different stages of cancer, I guess. And then, but they would just drain it out. It would just, some of it, you could just, when they would look at it on the x-ray, you can see right through it. And it would just be liquid, and they just keep draining it, just keep draining it. One was time it was hard. And then he went in there, he said, well, Yolanda, it's like the size of an egg. Let's just go in there and remove it. And they removed it in 2001. And they did a biopsy and it was benign. No big deal. Mammogram every year, nothing. So last year around this time, I had a mammogram, and when I got here to Mississippi, and when I got the call, she said, well, we need you to do another one. But this time we want to do the 3D one. It's only $50. Okay, but I kind of figured it was what I normally get. And I'm like, well, I know what it is. It's some little fluid things. And the doctors here in Mississippi didn't know anything about me. So I started not to go back because I'm like, it's just, I know what they are. I get them all the time. She says, no, we really want you to come. And I said, okay. So I came back. And then she said, well, we want you to see our doctor here that's on staff. And I just sat there. I'm like, I know what they are, blah, blah, blah. So when she came in, she says, well, you have breast cancer. I said, no, I don't. I said, I get these things all the time. She says, no, you do. You have breast cancer. I said, I do not have breast cancer. I can tell you what they are. So she said, let me show you what you have. And then she showed me. And then this time when I looked at them, it did look different. She said, I'm going to send these to your primary care physician. She said, but your options are we can remove the entire breast, or we can get a referral to remove both of your breasts. And I'm sitting there like, lady, you have lost your mind. I don't have breast cancer. No, you don't know what you're talking about. I said, and you're not taking my breast, and nobody else is taking my breast either. She says, well, you're in denial. I said, no, you just don't know the God that I serve. And thank you. No disrespect to you or your assistant. I will see you all later. And I left. So my primary care physician called me like the very next day and said, Yolanda, are you okay? I said, oh, I'm fine. He said, I need to see you. I need you to come here. Can you come by my office? I said, no. He said, well, I'm coming to the house. I said, you're not invited here. So I hung up. He shows up at my house. He comes to the house and he knocks on the door. He said, this is a beautiful home. I said, why are you here? I'm way out in the country. He said, because I need to talk to you. I said, well, I could have came to the office, but anyway. So he said, you have breast cancer. I said, I do not have breast cancer. So he grabbed me by my hand. He said, yes, you do. He said, so the person that trained me, I'm going to pick you up tomorrow and we're going to go out to his office. I said, no, we're not. You're going to leave my house and you're going to go home because it's 8:30 at night and I'm going to bed. And when I get ready to talk to you, I will call you. So he said, so you throwing me out? I said, no, I'm going to politely walk you to your car. And so I did that. So he kept calling me every day, every day, every day. So after about 2.5 weeks, he must have went on my because I wasn't married at the time and I didn't have my husband on my next of kin. It was my 28-year-old Miles. He said, my Miles called. He said, Miles, Mom, your doctor called. Do you have some doctor's appointments you've been missing? And do I need to be concerned about something? Because he wouldn't give me any information. He just said that you have a doctor's appointment that you missed. Would you go to the doctor, please? And I didn't want Miles to know. So that I had to. So I went to the office and scheduled the appointment. And the doctors here in the South are not really all that great. So I went ahead and went to Tupelo, Mississippi, which is an hour and a half away. My fiance at the time, who's now my husband, we went to Tupelo and it's an hour and a half away. And of course, I was praying and all this stuff. And I'm like, God, this is crazy. I'm not claiming this stuff. And when I got there and he was all giddy, hi, I'm Dr. Sanders. And I had been studying and reading about the guy and everything. And he's the top surgeon here in Mississippi. And he said, told me his story. He said, I got into surgery with my mom and she died of breast cancer. And that's how I ended up getting into it. He said, but let me go over your stuff. He said, put the x-ray up. He said, you have an inductive carcinoma. And then he went to show me pretty much how yours was. And he said, these are the different stages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He said, and the doctor told me how you're in denial of a lot of things. And he also said that you've been praying, but you know what? See, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 5, your stage is not even on the chart. I said, what do you mean? He said, ma'am, you have stage 0. I said, what? He said, you have stage 0. I said, what does that mean? He said, all of your cancer is still inside the carcinoma. He said, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to schedule your surgery immediately. He said, now I'm going to go in there and I'm trying to comb it out, try to just get it out. He said, but I'm going to plan on taking that entire breast. I'm going to take some of the tissue from your right breast and I'm going to try and redo the left breast. If I can't, I'm going to just remove the whole breast. So I'm looking to do 4 to 5 hour surgery. If I can't get enough tissue and if I try to take out that cancer and it gushes, I'm gonna have to remove the breast because once it gushes, then it's gonna just start spreading everywhere. So look to be in surgery about 4 or 5 hours. He said, but I'm the best around here. I can make your boobies look brand new. He said, but I'll do the best I can. But you do have stage 0. So basically right now, we caught it real early. You stayed on it. He said, I said, well, I have a praying family. He said, well, good. And my husband was like, she hasn't told anybody. She didn't tell me. I had to, nobody in my family knew. I didn't tell anybody because I wasn't accepting it. But anyway.
And you ain't even tell me. Hello.
No, I didn't. I didn't tell anybody. Only reason why I told him is because it was accident that I even told my husband. He was actually on the road because he and I both are truck drivers, and he called me and he could tell something was wrong. But anyway, so he got off the road. He said, I didn't feel like this when my mother had breast cancer. And he was like, I'm getting off the road. So he got off the road and he came home and I had told him. But anyway, make a long story short, I had to finally tell my son, but I waited till after Thanksgiving because I didn't want to mess with anybody's Thanksgiving. And when we planned the surgery, I let my son know a few weeks before. So he was devastated. So he came down. He's a physician too. He's 29 now, but he canceled all his patients that he had to see, and he came down. So we went to the surgery, and Pastor Wiley, he called us at 5 o'clock in the morning. He's like, "Hey, I said, why are you calling me? He said, because I want to pray before you go in. So Pastor prayed and everything, and I guess him and Miles was on the phone. He said, well, I'm gonna call you. Y'all call me when you get out. He said, you're not gonna be in there that long. I said, well, Pastor, he said we're gonna be in there for 45. He said, you ain't gonna be in there that long. I said, well, he said 45 hours. He said, you're not gonna be in there that long. I said, Marvin E. Wall. He said, Yolanda, you're not gonna be in there that long. I said, okay. When I came out of the surgery, I looked up, I'm thinking, well, what happened? So, the first thing you want to do is this to see if they had to take it. But I couldn't. And everybody in there was just crying. Even the nurses, I'm like, oh God, the worst is. And so they started wheeling me back to the room. So my husband was standing there, my son, and Miles was in tears. I'm like, okay, I'm thinking the worst. Apparently I was only in there 35 minutes. That's it.
Look at
He's-
God. Pastor
God,
Wiley called it though, didn't he?
he sure did. When they went in there, Dr. Sanders said that he went in there and it was a lot bigger than he thought. He put the thing in there to scoop out the actual tumor. And, they have to get the tissue around it. Normally when they put the thing around to pull it out, it squeezes it and then its cancer gushes out of it. He said once he did that, the thing just like popped out, the whole thing, and nothing went anywhere. He said it didn't do anything. It was just like, okay. He said, and the nurses was like, they had never seen anything like that before in their life, ever. He said, but as soon as he put it inside the tray, all of what it was inside started coming out like whatever. And then he took 3 lymph nodes out of my arm. None of that was no cancer or anything. And he just was like, whoever you all worship, continue to do so. So I have both breasts. I had to have radiation for 4 weeks, no chemo. I didn't lose any hair. They've been trying to get me to take that same pill that you probably take that they said I need to take for 5 years. I refuse to take that because of the side effects. They told me I could get bone loss. She knows all of that other stuff. I did the family history to see if my family had any kind of the DNA. I did that. I paid for that, which is a little over $1,000, and it came back no family cancer cell genes in my body at all. There was 0. No, they don't know where it came from. They don't know. There's no cancer cell gene in my body at all. So it's like a fluke. So there's an 8% chance that I can more likely get it again. So then they called me in again to take the cell that was for the postmenopausal premenopausal. So he sent me to get consulted for the premenopausal women to take the other pill because there's 2 different kinds. So the side effects for that pill is blood thinning. So I can, so she said if I was a smoker, it will cause me to have heart condition. I could possibly get what they call cervical cancer. I could get gout along with these some stuff inside your mouth, and then I could lose my hair along with I'm like, wait, hold on. You want me to? She said, but we can get an approval through your insurance company to remove your uterus so you don't have to worry about getting uterine cancer. I said, wait. So she says, well, the reason why it's possible you can get uterine cancer is because of the type of cancer you had with your breast. So you want me to take one pill can cause me to have another cancer to prevent me from get another cancer when I'm already in the 8th percentile. If I take this pill to prevent this cancer, to drop that 8% into 4%. But okay, so if I get this bone loss density as well as getting some other cancer, is any of this reversible? He said, well, no. I said, I'd rather take my chance on God.
There you go.
So I'm not taking nothing. If I got this cancer from taking nothing, Well, then I'd rather get another cancer from taking nothing. I don't need a pill to give me gout, heart failure, uterine cancer, but I don't need a pill to give me anything else. I'd rather take my chance on God. And so my hematologist, and she know all these other doctors you have, your oncologists, they call me every 3 weeks because they're trying to find a pill that I can take. I'm not taking any pills. So I don't take anything. I gained the weight, like you go through radiation. Only thing problems I'm having right now is coming off the radiation. The radiation also kills your good cells and your bad cells. So my boobie is still the black, it's still burn up black because I do have my breast. I went through the blistering. I have all of those blisters. My skin is discolored. I still can't really wear a bra. I'm going through the skin irritation, the burning. I feel like I still had the jitters. It's like coming off of a drug. Like I have anxiety a lot. I get emotional. She knows. I go through a lot of. I feel like I'm alone. Feel like it's like coming off a high, kind of like as if you're going through withdrawals. Is what I'm going through now. I get I don't know. Sometimes I feel I get the shakes still. I feel like I'm coming off of a. They want to give me a pill for that too, but I'm not taking anything but my thyroid medication. So my weight is coming off because I went up. I was when I first started, I was like 175. I went up to 217 with my weight gain, and then my thyroid medication completely stopped working. So because I don't have any thyroids, I had them removed years ago. So the cancer itself actually was preventing my thyroid medication from working, and I didn't know that. But once they removed the cancer, now my thyroid medicine is working. So I went from 217, now I'm down to 190, 94. So my weight is slowly coming back down, slowly. So it's I've been having the battles with my weight. My heart has actually been out of control. I've been had to wear a heart monitor for a couple of months off and on. Been seeing a cardiologist for a while because my blood pressure has been out of control, but that's because my thyroid medicine has been off. The radiation partly was somehow the radiation thing that they used to cover you up when you wasn't covered up completely on my heart. So they worried about a lawsuit for that because how they put when they cover up it didn't completely cover my heart. So the radiation kind of affected it in some ways. So you have to really make sure if you ever go through radiation that they're completely covering up all of your organs and only doing radiation on the part of your body that they're supposed to be doing radiation on. Because my other boobie even got some blackness on it and it didn't even have no parts on us. And drinking a lot of water, like she said, is vitally important. Because at nighttime, even though I just had the radiation on the one boob, my toes and my toes cramp up really bad when I don't get a lot of water. So even though I had stage 0, I still have to have a mammogram every 6 months. And then I still have to see my my oncologist every 3 months. And I see my surgeon every 6 months.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I had stage 0, but they still, because I won't take the pill.
You went through all of that in stage 0. And out of the 3 years of me doing this session, I've never heard of anyone having all of that happen to them. And everyone that I've talked to, Yolanda Powell, were you at stage 0 or were you stage 1? You was 2? Okay, she was at stage 2. And this, I don't get it. Maybe it is because you're down there in Mississippi. But what I will say, I thank God that Pastor Wiley called and prayed over you. And when they pulled the tumor out, that it didn't bust. You know, that's amazing. That's
Yep.
God. Yes, girl.
He said
That's
he had never
every
seen that
morning I'd
before.
be praising him, saying, "Thank you,
Mhm.
Jesus."
He said
So
he's
is
never.
anyone
Mhm.
does anyone
Mhm.
have any questions or a statement that they would like to say to Yolanda Watts? And then we're gonna go over to Yolanda Pickens, and then Yolanda Powell. I know we did yours last year, but I wanted you to come on and just give us an update. So was there anything anybody wanted to say to Yolanda Watts?
Have you tried some Aquaphor for your skin?
Yep, I got that stuff high too. Girl, it's like
It is.
$15.
It,
Yeah, I have it.
and so
I actually just got it last week. It was recommended. I just started using it and it works amazing. It has
it's
made
the
a
bomb.
big difference. I mean, a
What
big
is it
difference.
and what is it called again?
Aquaphor, it's it's a healing cream.
A healing cream.
Mm-hmm.
It's thicker than petroleum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just got it. Just got
Mm.
it. It hasn't even been a week.
Good. And one of the things that I found really useful, because I think somebody told me, is that like once your skin heals, just put like some vitamin E oil on your breast every day and some of the darkness will go away. Like
I've been
you just
trying
seen
that.
it, my boob then and now, you'd be like, did you even have radiation? But
Mhm.
And I actually started making my own shea butter with hemp oil to reduce or lighten my breast area back to the original color.
Hmm.
I'm gonna write that down.
I remember my aunt, she had breast cancer. Well, she's my father's aunt. So yeah, she was my aunt, but like second aunt, if that's what you want to call it. And back then, I don't know, somebody said, have you tried castor oil? Castor oil packs. Okay. And
Say
so
castor oil
packs.
packs,
Yeah.
PACK.
Yes, I'm going to that.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what she said. Shannon, we can let me tell this and then you can explain that to her. And she was heavy, heavy chested. And I was told that her breast, she didn't go through chemo, she didn't go through radiation, she didn't do anything. And I was told her breast became completely black. She was a shade darker than me, just a shade. And they said her breasts turned completely black and they were hard as a rock. And I don't know if they didn't catch it, you know what I'm saying? Because this was back in the mid 90s, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if she didn't go and get tested or, wasn't getting mammograms and then it happened. I don't know. But yeah, so the blackness of the breast, I thought it was, you know, from actual the cancer, not the radiation. But hearing from the ladies that it is. So, Shannon, go ahead and you were saying something about the castor oil packs, and then we'll move on over to Yolanda Watts.
Yeah, you can get the castor oil online at Amazon, and they sell the packs with it. I can send Mama Taylor the information, and all you do is you put the castor oil on the pack, and you take it and you wrap it around the area. And the castor oil is a natural known remedy. Even if you still do it like the old days where you swallow it in, it heals you from the inside out. Castor oil is one of the best home pathologies that you could use.
Mm.
You can Google it and do research. I'm telling you, it works wonders. My healing process after having my appendectomy doing this, I've moved faster than most people have when it comes to having the surgery. Let's just say that, just using the castor oil.
So I would think, because I normally take black seed oil every morning, but I mix it in with my drink, and I know that helps with my immune system. But if you think about it, castor oil, now I'm not sure. I know
Old school.
Yolanda, but all three Yolandas, are right there in the same age with me. Do you all remember every morning in the wintertime before going to school, you're standing in line, depending on how many kids it was, getting your teaspoon of castor oil? Do you all remember that? Yes.
And
I
Father
just put
John.
it in the chat. My
And
dad
I
Father
used
do
to
it.
make
John.
us give, he
Yeah,
used to
we had
make
the
us take
cast
that.
and
Yeah,
Father
sometimes,
John.
yeah,
Oof.
sometimes you might
So
have to go
nasty.
back.
Oh,
We had to
Sometimes you
have that
gotta go
Father
back to
John
that
and
old
cat,
oil.
and we never got sick.
never
Yep,
got sick.
never got sick. Never got sick. Okay, so now, all right, everyone, let's mute our devices and call in Yolanda Pickens. Now, Yolanda is one of my veterans.
Right.
Yolanda Powell, say hello to the other Yolanda. She's actually in our book as well. So I got my 3 Ys on the phone. So,
Hello
Yolanda,
and hello.
hey.
So I'll just start off when I got diagnosed. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2014. I just I retired in 06. So I retired and was taking care of my mom because she had congenital heart disease, and so I was doing all these other things. But when I finally settled down and she was better, my sister also had breast cancer. So when I was diagnosed, my sister had just passed from breast cancer. So I didn't tell my sister, and my brother just passed. So I didn't share the information with my mother because she just lost 2 of her children. So I shared it with my husband, but before they diagnosed me, I knew something was wrong because you know how we know our bodies, we get our checks. You know, we know, well, that feels strange. What is this pain I'm feeling? So I said, well, something is wrong. So I went in and they found it. They did the biopsy, called me back and let me know. I said, okay. And my husband and I both said, well, what's next? You know, I couldn't say that I had cancer, but I wanted to go ahead and take those preventive measures. I wanted to go ahead and do what I needed to do to get past it because I told myself, well, it's not going to beat me. So the first thing I did, okay, what's next? They said, well, you're only in stage 1. So, I mean, we can take uh, the cancerous cells out. I said, well, what's the likelihood of it coming back? So when they did the gene study, well, I'm a gene carrier. So I said, okay, let's go ahead and remove both. I mean, it's just breast tissue to me. I'd rather have my life, breasts or nothing. So the one male doctor said, well, no, it's healthy. So we're not going to take it. I was like, well, why can't you take both? Well, and I'm in Texas right now. So his thing was, well, it's healthy. So we're going to do this mastectomy and then you can get reconstructive surgery. So I had one breast removed, had reconstructive surgery on that side, the initial side, the left side. And what they did was use my own skin. It was like a tummy tuck, so thank you, a Benny. So they used that tissue and the military took care of that. So then I had to go back because, you know, as being a breast cancer survivor, I have those checks where I have to go in annually, blood work, well, every 6 months initially. So blood work. Now they check my pancreas and they check, you know, all your levels. So and MRIs. But now I have to get because my veins are so they're all basically just burnt out. I don't know if you all know well, the breast cancer survivors know what a PICC line is. So I have to get the PICC line. Each time I have to go for an MRI with contrast. So, you know, I have a lot of bit of PTSD based on that because they have to go in because I can only use one arm. but I ended up because I'm a gene carrier, BRCA2 gene carrier. I got everything. I like take the breast, take the uterus, take all those things, take the ovaries, take anything that a cancer cell can hide in, as far as being a female. So they took all those things, and just to make a long story short, I go back in, I do my checks. Neuropathy is real, and it's painful. And the sun, being in the sun, I can tell, okay, this chemo. And they said, well, it's everything it's chemo. The sun makes my skin feel like there's needles on it. So although I try and say, okay, I don't have cancer, I rang that bell, but those things that are still lingering and will be with you depending on the type of breast cancer you have. I never took a pill, but I still have to go back for those checks. Never took the hormones or anything in addition to them checking my blood work, doing the MRIs, checking my pancreas, because it's always a chance that it could show up in anywhere. And then the area that I'm from, and I grew up in Gary, so growing up there with the steel mills and all those things, a lot of people ended up with some type of cancer, and we're still seeing that. And when I graduated in 81, but we still see several people developing and passing away from different types of cancer. So me having cancer, my sister having cancer, and my mom not having cancer, it was like, well, we don't know where it came from. I says, well, in my area where I grew up, a lot of people develop that. But I don't have breast. I have breast tissue, and it's mine. So they're mine. At work, I continue to work, because if I did not work, then it would have consumed me and the depression would have set in. So it sometimes was more difficult than others. But I went to work, and my community, my work family, they were strong for me. I would close my door and be in there when the chemo was getting the better of me, when my feet didn't want to cooperate. I would just stay in my office, and I had a person who would take up the slack, and he wouldn't let anybody come in the door. So that was a big part of that survival, having that community, having that family, supporting and helping me stay ahead of things. As far as fruit, I ate fruit because my taste buds changed, and I was bald. So hair for me now, it changes your perspective. When we thought growing up, boobs, hair, that's a woman. But for me, I was like, well, shoot, I'm bald now. I don't have any eyebrows. I don't have this. So I'm good. What's important? And I
So
was
how
like, my
many
health.
years survival are you right now?
My last treatment was in 2015, my last chemo.
Okay.
So whatever the math is for that.
Okay. So you still have the residuals of chemo with the neuropathy in your feet and other parts of your body?
Feet, my hands, the sun still, I'm and here in Texas, sometimes I can be out in the sun, sometimes I can't, because it messes with the skin. It messes with my skin. My hair has grown back, but eyebrows, I don't know if you all can see where I don't necessarily have eyebrows. And it's just what it is. There's so many other things I can do. I can put them on there, and I draw
There
them
you
on
go.
there.
That's what I was about to
Yeah.
say. Well, I was born that way. It's inherited to have no eyebrows. I have to paint mine on. So
Mhm.
that's not a big thing. So and I didn't ask Yolanda Watts this, but I'm gonna go back and ask her. Um, so you said your community from your work community. What do you think what do you wish your family had have known, or what would you have told them during that time that you didn't tell them? When you look back on it, it's like, I wish I had have told them.
Are you,
Well,
which
my,
Yolanda are you asking?
yeah, you
Okay,
talking
see,
to
that's
me?
why I said I got my three wives online. So because I have Yolanda Pickens um
Mhm.
on right now, I'm gonna go to Yolanda Watts afterwards. So
Okay.
yeah. So
For
Pickens
me,
first. YP
for,
first.
okay, there we go. YP. So for me, I'm glad I did not, I'm glad I didn't tell my mother, because she was already heartbroken. She was
Mhm.
heartbroken. And my hair was short, and she wondered why my hair was short. But I didn't, it was just growing back. So I didn't tell her that, hey, I'm a little sick right now. I didn't tell her that because she lost 2 children. The one thing I do wish um, was that I would have been able to communicate with my husband, because it was like we were both sick, but I couldn't see the impact on him, my sickness had on him, because he felt it was his role to be strong, and we didn't dialogue about what could happen. It was always a positive thing. When I was sitting getting the infusions, he was sitting right there, but I never knew his mindset until maybe a year or so later, when he told me that he didn't have anybody to share what he was going through, um,
Mm.
watching, you know, me go through what I was going through when I would be on the couch. And I didn't know. I didn't know what I was looking like. I just know I had to keep moving forward. But the impact was different, even with my children. They said, "You were a lot different." I said, "Really?" And they saw it, but they didn't share with me what their mindset was. So, and that memory, when they call it chemo brain, they were there for me because I couldn't remember a lot of things. And it took years before I could remember different things. It took several years, actually, because I lost a lot of things. Chemo is a poison, and it kills a whole lot of things in your body. So my memory and my ability to be able to stand in front of people and talk or remember people's names, or they were there to pick up that slack. And I didn't realize it, until afterwards, when they told me, "Hey, this is what you look like. This is what you scared us." And I was like, "Well, I didn't realize it," because they didn't have that dialogue with me. But
Okay.
now
All
I
right.
do.
Okay. And you said food, you didn't lose your appetite?
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Oh, I
Hmm.
did, because it didn't taste
Taste right.
right. Yeah,
Hmm.
and the texture was a big thing. That texture of different foods, you don't realize it until, I don't know. I didn't realize that textures played a big role, but fruit, specifically, what's that orange fruit? Melon. I could eat melon.
Okay.
Green melons, watermelons, orange melons. I could eat those, and that's what I ate most of the time. And coleslaw. Why? I don't know. The texture.
Coleslaw?
Yes. And it had to be a
Okay.
particular coleslaw, vinegar based.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Yolanda Watts. Okay. Okay, no, hold on, Yolanda. Hold on, Yolanda. YW, hold on. YP. Is there
Okay.
anyone that have questions for YP, for Yolanda P? Are there any questions, comments, anything that you want to get of her before I go back over to Yolanda Watts?
I just have a comment. I was listening when she was sharing about her husband not having anyone to talk to. Um, I never really even thought about that because my mom was really the only person who was taking care of me at the time. So I don't know what she did. Um, during that time, did he ever mention to you what he did to get through it?
You know, he never did.
Mhm.
He would confide in some of his fraternity brothers, but he that was about all he told me. He didn't tell me specifically how it traumatized him, only that it did, and he didn't know. And watching the different phases, he didn't know. He just knew he had to be my strength, you know. So no.
Ooh, and you know, when you were talking about that, I was wondering, is there a support group? It is one.
For
Yolanda Powell.
caregivers.
We got two women. We got two P's on here as well. Yolanda
Hmm.
Powell and Yolanda Pickett. Okay, Yolanda Powell, you shaking your head, yes. So there is a support group for families?
For caregivers, yeah.
Okay, okay, the caregivers. Okay, okay. So Yolanda, thank you, Yolanda Pickett. Thank you
Okay.
so much for sharing. I really and truly appreciate that. And I know it was the last minute me asking you to come on. And I appreciate that. I love you for it.
Thank you for the
Um,
reminder.
yes, yes. I told you I was gonna send you a reminder, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot.
Can I
So
ask
you
Yolanda a question?
hmm?
Your how how often do you have the memory stuff? Because it's like play people names and
Well,
did it? Because I
initially, it
still
was
because
different.
it's still difficult for me though.
It took years. It took years. It took years.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the first year, second year. No, it took several years before. And I would say
It's
maybe last year it started clicking. And my last treatment was in 2015. So maybe 5 years or so before I could remember things that just came natural to me. And that's
Mhm.
because of all the chemo. And they said
Mm,
that's normal. So I was like, I cannot remember this person's name. I can't remember where I was going as far as directions and just the very basic things. And it took a long while. So, I mean, it's frustrating and it will be frustrating. And all you can do is to alleviate, all I did to alleviate that frustration and says, well, I'm still here to complain about it. So I'm just
mhm.
going to shake it off and keep it moving.
There you go. There you go. Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm Yolanda Watts. I did not ask you that question. What is it that you wish you had a told your son, your husband, your friend here in Chicago, um, that you didn't tell? What do you wish you had have told us?
As far as I saw the question when you sent it. Um, I don't even know how to answer that because I've had a son to pass away when he was 20 of natural causes. I've had um a
Mom.
sister, well, my sister Brenda, she was 56. She died of lung cancer in 2014, and my mom died in 2016 of lung cancer. My sister Joyce died in 2018 of lung cancer. Kathy, my oldest, died of cancer in 2020. And then, so it's, but they were smokers. I wasn't, but I've been around them. So
Hmm.
my immediate family, what would I tell them?
What would you wish you had have told them?
What I wish I would have told them in regards to
Yes.
me having cancer,
Hmm.
just not to worry about me.
Well, I can say that when you and I spoke after you finally told me that was one of the things that you said to me. I didn't want to worry you. And I, I become I'm a waterhead. And same way with Yolanda Powell when she didn't tell me. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I thought I was a good friend. I thought, these are the kind of things you're supposed to share with your friend. And then when I didn't get that, I felt like I wasn't the friend that I should have been to you two. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. So that's why I always put that question in there. What is it that you wish you had a told your family? What is it that they could have done to make it easier for you? And so,
Can I interrupt
um,
for a second?
yeah,
When I'm speaking for these other friends, I'm speaking on their behalf as well. Cassandra, you've been knowing me for just about all of our life because we grew up together and went to school together. And you know me as being that person that has always been there for everybody. I've always been that strong person that do everything for everybody. You've never seen me weak, or you've never seen me I've always been the person that everybody comes to. So we want to always, even as we get older, be that person that you need. We don't want to be that person that you see weak or in need, or we want to always be that strong person when you come. So for me to have to tell you that I have cancer or breast cancer or whatever, you wouldn't have, there's not something I would tell somebody, especially when my phone rings and you need to talk, or you need me to do this tax return or get you out of a situation where I'm always there for you to listen, or whatever it is, take you to whatever it is. We've always been that type of people to be there for people. We're the caregivers. We're the ear. We're the strong. We're the wall, the brick wall that you need. Even though we wasn't there when whatever happened, we're that person that you cuss out or punch just because you need to relieve some stress. Even though we weren't there and we didn't have nothing to do with it, we're that person. So we can't be weak at that time. We can't cry. We can't let go. We have to always be strong for you and everybody else. So we can't let that go. I can't be weak. I don't have time to call you and say, hey, I'm weak today. I can't, I'm not that person. For me to have to tell you, hey, Cassandra, I'm getting ready to go have breast cancer. That's not something that that wasn't an easy thing to do.
yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? I understand that because Yolanda Powell even said the same thing to me, and I get it. I do. I'm just a waterhead, and I just feel like, these are people that I considered as my sister, considered, my army buddy, all of this other kind of stuff. And I just felt, some kind of way because I was like, what could I have done to help? It's basically what I'm saying. What could I have done to bring you a little bit more comfort? Even though Yolanda Watts, I know you're down there in Mississippi, so it wasn't much that I could do, other than to be that ear. But in understanding what you're saying about not wanting to be weak, and it's not a sign of weakness. Let me say that to you. It's in this to you, to one Yolanda, the other Yolanda, and Deanna, and anybody that's gonna listen to it. It's not a point of you being weak. Sharing that you need help, crying, None of that is a sign of weakness. And I get it, 2020 is hindsight. But at some point in our life, as strong women, we need to know when to say, I need help. I can't do this no more. We have to learn how to do that, because if we don't, we will end up being 6 feet under because we keep taking on everything. Oh, nobody's going to see that I'm hurting today because I need to be strong for this person. No, allow that. Allow someone else to be strong for you. It will help the healing. And no, I've never been through anything like this. I've only heard and seen people, but I'm here to tell you that nothing changes when you hold it in. The only thing that changes when you hold it in is that it gets harder, because then you have your family and friends that will come at you and say, why didn't you let me help you? And being the strong person that you are is going to be, well, I don't want to worry you. But you're worrying them now because there's so much that they could have done for you to help alleviate some of your stress, some of your problems. When Yolanda Powell, if she don't mind me telling, when she shared to us about not having a whole lot of support, three of us came in, um, when it was time for her to ring the bell to let her know, hey, we weren't there for everything else, but we're going to be here and we're going to rejoice. And we did. We rejoice right there. Yolanda, come on. You can tell it, Yolanda Powell. We were right there in the hospital playing that song. And we was praising God, and people were walking by looking at us, but we didn't care because he brought her through it. We wanted to show her that we were there for her. And I don't know, but I love y'all. Yolanda Powell, come on. I want you to add in if you want to. And thank you, Melissa, for chiming in.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I missed some of it. Cassandra, let me say this. Also, to add to what Yolanda, the last one that spoke, said, and what you said about not having a lot of people. The reason I didn't or couldn't have a lot of people was because it was COVID. So I had to do many of the things that you all have shared by myself. So I couldn't have anyone, walk me into the waiting room or sit with me in the waiting room or go with me past a certain point for surgery or any of those appointments. My son had to do FaceTime because he didn't live here. So yeah, that's the reason why I didn't have a lot of support. Not that they didn't want to, but they couldn't. And the other part is my mom probably wouldn't have let them in the house anyway because it was COVID. So, but I shared my story, was it last year?
Yes. Yep, it was last year. Mm-hmm.
So I got diagnosed in March of 2021 during the peak of COVID. And like Yolanda P, number one, I couldn't share that I got diagnosed because we were in the process of burying my uncle, my mother's second oldest brother. And not that she didn't ask, because she said we were flying actually to California, and she asked me, hey, have you heard from the doctor? What did he say? And I said, oh, they probably calling me while we're, in the air, even though they had already left a message telling me I had breast cancer. but I had to sit next to her and basically lie, you know, because she was grieving. We both were grieving. And I was with maybe about 30% of my family at the time. Stared them in the face, didn't say a word, not nothing. Some of my aunts, my uncles, my cousin, nothing. Got home, went to my next appointment, and we went from there. I actually had to do a Zoom to tell everybody because my brother lived in a different state, my son lived in a different state, and my sister wasn't coming out. No, and I didn't want my mom to come over yet. Because they tell you, you know, how to protect your space, how to not share with everybody all at once because it's overwhelming. And, you know, people will have questions that you don't have answers to. So me telling you I have breast cancer is like, we both don't know anything. So after that, I had to tell them via Zoom that I had breast cancer. I had to do 15 rounds of chemo. Originally, I had a lumpectomy, and then I had 30 rounds of radiation. Radiation made me a totally different color, and I got burned to the rawness of my meat. You want to update. So, you know, of course, through all of that, I ended up with neuropathy and lymphedema. The lymphedema still is hanging on, even though I have a machine, I have a sleeve, I have a glove. I make sure I elevate my arms, things like that. The neuropathy comes when I do too much with my hands or my feet, if I walk too much or stand too long. So last year, I started having complications with the lumpectomy site. So I ended up with a infection next to my nipple. So it was a sac filled with toxins or whatever. So they had to go in, you know, take a sample, make sure it wasn't, you know, cancerous. But even after 3 rounds of antibiotics, it still wouldn't go away. So I went to them and said, look, I don't know what you have to do, but you need to fix it. I can't walk around with a leaking breast for the rest of my life. So I got set up with a plastic surgeon and we discussed my options. And I was like, look, you can just take both of them if you need to, because I'm not about to go through this. I was fine with the lumpectomy and it was healing right, even though I have keloid skin. And so they explained the process and I was just like, I don't want to do all that either. Because then I would have to be cut from hip to hip to get enough muscle and fat and all that. And I already have, you know, a tough time healing because I have overactive collagen. So long story short, I ended up having to get the breast removed anyway after all of that. And the latest is that even though I went through that surgery, it went well, it was healing, the wound maybe like 4 months after reopened all the way, causing a lot of infection, which I'm still dealing with right now. And I can't wear my prosthetic. I can't wear a real bra. I have to change my gauze morning and night, and sometimes even during the middle of the day because it's still doing whatever it does. So, yeah, and having to deal with the fact that you have to walk around with one breast and not two, it plays a lot of mental things on you. and you wonder if people are noticing. And of course, someone said something. I thought I was going to lose it, but I didn't. But I had to tell that person, the new Yolanda is not allowing it to just slide anymore. Hey, that was insulting. That was inappropriate. You have no idea what it takes to come into this place every day without both breasts, without the prosthetic, without wearing a real bra, knowing that whatever clothing I put on, you may notice a difference. And so, of course, I wanted to make that person feel just as bad as I felt. So I rubbed it in. Hey, that was insensitive. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I feel being around you. Of course, they're apologetic, things like that. But then you become self-conscious all over again. So that's what I'm going through now. That and, dealing with my therapist asking me the question, am I afraid to live now? Even though I don't think I am, but I couldn't answer it right away because am I, or am I holding, waiting to see if something else is going to go wrong? But you can't live like that. So I have to figure out, not me. I pray every day to make sure Lord knows that I can get through it, and he'll send me what I need to make it through and not have that doubt, festering in the back of my mind, because I do want to live. He didn't allow me to live through this just to have doubt. So that's the update, Cassandra. So there you go.
Okay, I really, oh Lord, I really appreciate that. I'm glad that you shared that with us, and were open with us about it. And once again, for those that didn't hear at the beginning, the purpose of me having this platform is to give you ladies a way of releasing and sharing, because I know sometimes it may be hard to share with other people. But I believe that in your sharing about what you're going through could possibly help somebody else. I've seen, because it's four of you ladies on here that are breast cancer survivors, that were nodding when they were hearing someone say what they were going through. And then some remedies were even exchanged here about what could possibly help you. So I'm feeling that once I upload this and then push it to YouTube, then we may possibly help somebody else out there, or it may be some comments. And when I go in and I check, I can come back and say, hey, ladies, I was told to try this or do that. But I just want you to know that Top Flight, Cassandra Taylor, we appreciate you and we love you so very much. And Melissa, thank you. Thank you. Melissa's another young lady that I had been talking with off and on. Melissa, is there something you want to add or something you want to say? Introduce yourself.
Y'all hear me?
Yes, Melissa.
Yeah, okay. No, I didn't know if I was on mute or not. So anyway, yes. So my name is Melissa del Valle Ortiz. I received this link, I believe it was through the National Association of Black Military Women.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, good. I just logged in and I was like, 4 o'clock. Oh my gosh, I hope I still have time. So my name is Melissa del Valle Ortiz. I'm a 2-year warrior, and I'm very focused on the language that we're using. So when people say survivor, it means to me that, it's over. I've survived it and it's over, but it's not. And we all know it's every day. And just like Yolanda was sharing with us, it's like, it's some new shit every effing day. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, so I use a lot of F-bombs. So forgive
Yep.
me. If you have sensitive ears, sorry about that. Apologize in advance.
Oh, so
And so
let me stop you right quick, Melissa, and
go
just
ahead.
letting you know I'm recording it Facebook Live and it's recording to be uploaded for YouTube because this is my way of helping. So if you have a problem with that, let me know, and then I can stop it from Facebook, stop it from recording, and then you can share. So I want to put that disclaimer out there. And if you don't care, then drop them bombs, baby. It is what it
Yeah,
is.
if people are sensitive, they need to tune out because
Okay.
I'm not that person. So, you know. But
Okay.
anyway, but thank you for letting me know. So for me, I think the biggest issue that I've been having since my diagnosis has been the fact that and I'll try to stop me if I run too long because it's 6:38, so maybe in 3 or 4 minutes.
Uh, Go unless everybody else drop off. This is my business account. We're unlimited. So
Okay.
just don't leave us on here till 10 o'clock at night, but go ahead on.
Yeah, no, 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 no. So, so just really quick, I think I everything happened so fast, I didn't really have time to process, right? It was like, just like Yolanda, I got diagnosed during COVID. Um, there's a little history before that, but just the same, I had no knowledge that I could possibly, be positive or test positive. And I had gone to the doctor just to get a baseline physical before getting my COVID shot so I could go back to work, back into the office. And then my doctor was like, "Well, um, you haven't had a mammogram, let alone a physical, right, in more than 10 years. So let's do this." I'm 54. I'll be 54 this year. So I was just turning 51. And I said, "Yeah, okay, no big deal." And 2 weeks later, and then 2 weeks later, and then all summer, July, I had my surgery. Uh, Within 2 weeks of the surgery, they gave you like 2 weeks to heal. And then from August until September, I was doing daily radiation. And then, you know, um, then I was like, all right, I'm done. And, go back to work. And it was not go back to work time. It was take a pause, check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? Um, and then the end of 2022, I used to work for a member of Congress, and so our district lines shifted, and the part of the district that I anchored was taken away. So that meant that I got laid off at the top of 2023. So I haven't been working all year, and I gifted myself a year of no work, no work. I wasn't answering to nothing but the rising sun of the day and, the start of the day every day. And I went on vacation and I took care of myself all year long. And I'm planning on going back to work next year. And what it did was, because of the type of job that I had, was always being in service to others, always helping other people, always, checking off all the boxes. My kids are 32 and 33. And so, they're pretty much adults, but again, always helping others, always making sure everybody else is okay before I check myself, or before I do anything for myself. And me too. Thank you. And so yeah, so I said no more, and I gave 2023 was my gift to myself for nothing, but and like nothing. And it was like detox, it was like going through it. And then 2023 let me know that I had some level of PTSD from my treatment, right? Because I didn't realize really what I was facing. Because you in it. You're like, but don't you look back? You're like, hey, where's this black and blues coming from? well, how I got this broken arm, you know, and it's figuratively, but it's like I told somebody recently, it's like going through a gauntlet, you know, and then not realizing how beat up you were mentally and physically through it just to get out on the other side, you know. Um, so I'm grateful for this year. Helped me prioritize myself. It helped me um give some focus to some of the things that I have intended on doing, not just for me, but in my life. Redirect what kind of job I want to do, what kind of dedication I want to give to my community. I do a lot of volunteer work. Um, so I might have to scale that back quite a bit. And the surprising lesson for me this year, and I have no problem saying this publicly, was the sex. The sex was completely different. I was like, what is happening? What is happening to my body? This is not me. This is not me. And the first, the the reason why I bring that up is because the first medication they put me on was tamoxifen, and it made me so depressed, um, really quickly. And so, I, you know, I wasn't feeling my normal self in my head, and so I stopped taking it. I'm supposed to be on a anastrozole now, not taking it. um and just trying to take care of myself because they told me there's no guarantee that these pills are gonna work. It's a 50-50 chance. It might work, it might not work. Well, the mental health part of those pills, the side effects, were too much for me, and I couldn't do it. I was too depressed. I literally was standing at my kitchen sink washing dishes, hysterical crying, sobbing uncontrollably. Called like 6 friends before the sixth one finally picked up and was like, "Hey, let's go through your medic." She's a nurse. Was like, what are you taking? What are the side effects? Maybe it's that. Maybe they need to change your dosage. Maybe they need to, because I was ready to pack all my shit, whatever I could fit, go empty my bank account, get on the plane, and leave. And that's not me. And that's what made me start crying, really saying, what is happening? What is happening? Anyway, and then in this last year, um, became intimate with somebody and was like, what is this? What's happening to my body? What happened? Where did it all go? I don't understand. Where was the warning signs? No one talks about this. Can we make this a topic of discussion for the next, like, just sex? I just, it's
Talk
not,
about
it's,
that. So the next time we have our breast cancer warrior session, you want to talk about the sex. So tell me, so before we even go into that, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing?
it's very bad. It's very bad. Number one, I mean, just me, like how my body changed. Um, and in talking to other people, because of course, you know, instinctively I go into advocacy mode. Um, bye, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I go,
sis.
yeah, I go instinctively into advocacy mode. And so I started gathering groups of women and having conversations with them. And they're going through it too. They're ashamed of their bodies. Their partners are not loving them the way that they used to. Um, it makes me very afraid to think that somebody wouldn't love me, you know, or would love me differently or less, if it came back, you know, and that's the reality that we deal with every single day. And you know, people think, oh, you ring the bell and then you do the walk and then it's all finished and you cross the finish line and yay, you go back to bullshit every day, morning, noon, and night. What am I eating? What am I drinking? Who's hugging me? Who's loving me? Who's gonna kiss on me? Who's gonna hold me? Who's gonna carry me through the next 15 minutes? Hold me through this cry. I've been holding myself down forever, forever. And so now to have this on top of that and trust that somebody else is gonna have my back through it, I don't know if I have it to give to somebody that level of trust and depend to be able to depend on that person to take care of me. that way,
Mhm,
you know?
mhm.
It's like, nah, I don't know if I have it to give, you know? So I'll leave that there. But it's more than just sex. It's more than just, you know, how that changed. It's the perception, it's the emotion, it's the mental, it's all those things. People are not having this conversation. And my very best friend, may she rest in peace, passed away the year before my diagnosis to breast cancer. And she lived on the other side of that door. So every time I open my door, it's like she greets me every day. You know, every single time I open the door, she's like in my head, like I can't tell you, like I would go to her apartment like 5 times a week, you know? And so the things that she shared with me about her body, that she said to me, make me now wonder, you know, what if later it comes back? What if I go through what she went through? What if I feel the way she felt? She fell into a very deep depression, very late. She passed away at 72. And she in her late years, she was very depressed about things that happened to her in her childhood that she could not undo. And it wasn't until I was literally walking in her shoes that I was like, maybe it was the medication. And then that's a part of what makes me so afraid of taking this damn medication. You
Mhm.
know, is it gonna make me so depressed that I can't stop thinking about what makes me depressed? You know, or it just keeps growing. I keep doing all these things. Anyway, it's a lot more, but it all ties in, you know, how the medication how your body reacts to medication, how your body reacts to the treatment, how are people treating us, how are people loving us, how are we loving on ourselves,
Mhm,
um,
mhm.
you know, all those things. I just, it's not that sex is like number 1 out of 10, but it's a top three.
Right,
It's a top
right.
three,
And that,
you
and
know?
that's the thing. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because out of the 3 years that we've been doing this session, no one has ever mentioned the emotional and physical part of having breast cancer, and your mate, how they respond to it, or a new mate, how they would respond. So that is
Hmm.
something that we might have to add in here
It
for the
wasn't nothing to
next
talk about,
session.
Cassandra.
Huh?
It wasn't nothing to talk about. I didn't have a mate. So, um, and
Well,
then
that too.
I didn't have a sex drive to worry about it. And I didn't want to be touched. So, yeah.
And
But one of my
that's
girlfriends just asked me today, did my sex drive change? Because hers went the opposite way of what Melissa and I just described. She said hers is like now uncontrollable, but she has no one to, she's divorced. So
mm,
she said she doesn't know how to, you know, keep it under control. So yeah, that conversation would be helpful, because we do go through everything that Melissa just mentioned and more.
I don't I gotta figure that one out. And Melissa, I don't have breast cancer. I never had. Um, but I'm fussing with, oh, well, no, I'm not gonna put that on there. I'll have to stop Facebook and tell you what I'm fussing with. But it's the calcification has grown from my last mammogram. And so I'm working through that and waiting to be seen to have another biopsy to make sure that it's nothing and that it's benign. But I had a guy to ask me earlier this year, why do you do this? Why are you having these breast cancer sessions if you've never had one cancer, let alone breast cancer? And I told him, I said, I don't know. It just was something that I was drawn to do, and been hearing of other women having breast cancer, and like, oh, October, October, October. Yeah, but what about November when everything has died down?
What about
Let's
July?
still have that conversation, because I haven't seen these kind of conversations. Um, the intimate conversations posted. You know what I mean? If they are in these Gilda groups and these other groups that they're having, I think that if a woman is open enough to share, such as you ladies are, then why not do it? Because it may be somebody out there that's quiet and you gonna start a support group? I'm the leader of it. You can't take what I was gonna do. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But I think it's a beautiful thing for women to do this. I know with our organization every year in March, at the end of March, because March is Women History Month, we have a session called Let's Talk About Us. And it's a women's conference. It lasts 4 hours, and we talk about women topics, women issues. The first year, we just talked about, it was a pilot, wanted to see how it would go. The second year was mind, body, and soul. And my beautiful soror, Leslie, was on there to do the soul part, to talk to us about and teach us how to, become one within ourselves. We had a young lady talk about the changes that our body go through as women. And then another one to talk about the mental aspect, PTSD, anxiety, depression, all of that. And this year we did sex, lies, and alibis, which would have been perfect for you, Melissa, to be on there, because when we talked about the sexual part, we actually had a sexologist that came on and talked about how women, sometimes we have that in us and we don't know how to let it go. And then when we get a partner to allow us to let it go, they like, oh, you got all of that built up inside of you. No, we want you to calm it down. And so next year is get up, get out, and do something. So
Hey. No.
we're building. You said no or yay?
No, no. I mean, it depends what you talk about. Get up, get out, do something. That could go depending on what we're
There
talking
you go.
about.
Well, see, that's why you gotta
Take people
come
down
out
there.
to it next year. You gotta be on next year when we do it and decide. But um
Hi,
we have
Cassandra.
Ann. Okay, hey Ann. We have Ann Schaefer, and she's another breast cancer survivor. And we only have 6 minutes left
Oh
on here
boy.
because we've been on since 4. And I don't want to, unless the ladies don't mind staying on, but what I'm gonna do, I'm going to stop it on Facebook because we've been running 2 hours now on Facebook. And I want to stop it on Facebook. I can keep it recording for the YouTube channel so you can still share. But I just want to let you know the time. So your conversation could either be as short as the ladies will allow it, or as long as the ladies would allow it. But let me
Okay.
dismiss the people on Facebook, tell them thank you for chiming in. Thank you for listening. Follow Top Flight Defense Incorporated on all social media channels. Google us on YouTube so you can see everything that you may have missed. I love you. Peace out. Okay, so we're done on Facebook. So ladies, depending on how long you want to stay, we can let Ann give as much or as little as she can about her being a warrior.
Mhm. Hi, I'm Ann Schaefer, and I first want you to know that I'm a 3-time breast cancer survivor. And the number 1 and number 2, I had on the same, they were 2 different kinds. I had them on the same side, which is the right side, at the same time. And this was back in 2006 when they were deciding that radiation was still okay. I did not get any chemo at that time because I was in stage 0. What I did get was 30 seconds of radiation for 25 treatments. I was supposed to have 30, but the radiation, I developed a infection about the size of an apple in my right breast. And so it was pounding like it was my heartbeat. So I had two heartbeats, so to speak. And so then they rushed me into emergency surgery because if they didn't get that apple size ball of infection out, I would have gone septic. So then come along 15 years later, and I have this diagnosis of triple negative breast cancer. And we're thinking that my grandmother had it on my dad's side, and she died of it within 5 years. And then the daughter, she had it, but I don't know. This is the aunt's daughter. I don't know anything particular about that. So with mine, I realized after I was all done about a month ago with my surgeries that I had gotten the the next best step after hearing the worst news of your life and have 3 years. I had chemo treatment, and then I've been on the chemo pill for 3 years now. I still have 2 years to go, and I've had I've actually gone through 3 menopauses, and that's pretty tricky to get through with your partner. And so I had a regular one when I was about 49, and then I had the radiation induced one um, during my first 2 cancers and after. And then I had the third one after the chemo treatment. So I'm happy to say the doctor told me that I'm going to be living 15 to 20 years. So yeah.
Yes,
So
praise God. Yes,
yes,
yes.
yes. Yeah, that's an answered prayer. So it's been really tough on my husband. He's been scared that I'm going to die before he.
No, we're not gonna have that. We're not putting fear in nobody right now.
No, nope, nope. And I've been feeling much better, and I have a better attitude. And so that counts for a lot.
Okay. Does anyone have any comments or anything they want to say to Ann?
I did want to ask you, say you want a chemo pill? What pill is that?
I've had to change. I'm on Lexatron, I think. It starts with an L. But anyways, it's 5 of those pills could fit in my pinky nail, but they're very powerful. And so if I skip one, I can't double up. I just stay on the same schedule. So I'm just changed about a month ago to this new one, and I feel already that I'm going back into menopause. So um, the oncologist said there's 3 kinds of pills, and that it forms a triangle. And so what one doesn't work, then you go to number 2. And number 2 doesn't work, you go to number 3. And so sometimes you have to go in that triangle more than once, or you might be able to just only have to be on 2 of them. So all you can imagine all the different scenarios with the 3. So I have not taken any of the old chemo. I guess you call them potions or cocktails or whatever you want to call them when they're infused, but they are they do mix them particularly to what your weight is and what treatment you're having. And so this negative breast cancer, I was actually in stage 2. So so that's a miracle in itself right there. But I believe in self-examination. And that's exactly how I had it. And from the year before, which had only been 9 months, I was clear with my cancer. I had no suspicious anything with cancer. So for that to have developed in that 9 months to stage 2, if I had waited till my annual mammogram exam, then I would have already been in advanced to stage 4. So it was good for me to do a self-exam every once in a while, or have your partner, or have someone else that you trust. So then I've had a total mastectomy, right and left, to save my life. And I also had a hysterectomy after the first 2 cancers. So I've been trying to get rid of female parts that are particularly receptive to those cancer cells. Does that answer your question, Melissa?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry I went on, but
No,
It's
no, it's
okay.
good.
yeah, I usually go into the background so you can understand the better answer that I'm trying to give.
Okay. Well, I thank you, Ann. I really do. Yolanda had posted, oh, she's still on good, a link. Yolanda, you want to tell them about your event for next year?
Oh, yes. A friend of mine named Kim Simmons, she's in well, Angel and Angela, we call her, everybody calls her something different. She lives in South Carolina, and she has a all-female group that she's been promoting for about how many years? I guess about maybe 7 or 8 years. It's called Sisters with Horses Saddle, and they're going to come here to Mississippi, and she wants to do a trail ride in October for breast cancer. And what it is she get all females to just get on horses, and they just ride a trail. And the funding that the money that she collects, she donates it to breast cancer. But I'm trying to figure out how we can donate it to the top flight veterans. That's what she and I have been discussing here. She'll be here tomorrow because we're doing for my organization, the Women of Royalty Saddle Riders, we're doing our first rodeo tomorrow here in Mississippi. And we're going to try the funding that I'm getting is going to go for our organization. I want to do one for the top flight defense. We just have to pick a date. But
Okay.
next year in October.
Appreciate that.
Well, that sounds really exciting.
Yeah, you don't have to own a horse or ride a horse, but to be a part of our organization. We do have different programs where you can just be a part of the organization. And when we do have rodeos, you can come out, wear your cowboy gear, hat, boots, and we do have horses available that you can, if you want to claim them as your horse and walk with that horse, it's like $35 a month, and we'll maintain that horse for you. And whenever you come, you have to name it, of course, but when you do come in town, you have to go see that horse, and so that horse can get to know you. Horses have very good memories. And you take pictures with your horse, you name your horse, but we'll keep it for you. It's just you pick out whichever horse that you want, and it's your horse. So, but all of
Oh,
that
how interesting.
information, yeah, all that information is in our packet that I will send you. I'll put the link in there for me to send you more information. But it's just a bunch of women. We get together. We teach women how to be women of royalty. I'm starting to get we want to get scholarships for young women. We want to prepare for put together a cotillion for women. Anything that's supporting young women is what we want to do, help them get colleges. A lot of women don't realize if they get into agriculture here in this, that they can go to college for free. And agriculture is not all farming. People think word agriculture mean farming. There's a lot
No, it
of,
doesn't.
no, it doesn't. But there's a lot of college degrees that they can get in agriculture that they can go for free coming under our organization. So the women of royalty is trying to get as many, it's not just females, but as many we can that to apply for these grants so that they can get, everything is free, room, board, books, everything 100% free. But as many women as we can get to that would love to be a part of our organization. But we are going to do a rodeo in October of next year for breast cancer.
Okay.
It would be nice if you all can come and y'all pink, get our t-shirts.
Melissa,
Represent.
Melissa, are you on Facebook?
I am.
What is your name so we can be friends?
Oh, it's my whole name. It's Melissa Delvalle, Delvalle.
T-A.
No, Dell like the computer with one L. Valley without the Y. Ortiz, Ortiz.
Okay, D-E-L. Wait a minute, hold on. Let me stop the recording.
I'll put it in the chat. Hold on.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, hold on. You all don't have to go anywhere, but I'm gonna stop the recording. Thank you, everyone that came out. I love you. Follow Top Flight, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you.